Hello, everybody. My name is Xamator on Blitz, and whoa, hold on. Is this a lower tier? Are you playing low tiers? Have you become the seal clubber? Not really. I've been only doing this for this video specifically. But that's because the topic about this is related to the lower tiers. So, has the Forsaken 5.5 update, I don't know what update that is, has that update destroyed the skill gap forever? Has that actually happened because of that? Well, you're gonna find out soon enough. So I guess we'll start with the thing that after 5.5 different lower tier tank classes have came up, and the progression for tier 10 has been noticeably rapid in newer players. So back then, when you were in those lower tiers, a lot of lower tiers were derp guns, some even one-shotting the enemy, which is hilarious. I'm still mind blown that T18 back then could have one-shot everything, or T82. I kind of regret not testing it out, although I wish. But yeah, that's what was happening back then, which is quite insane. But yeah, I guess the thing I wanna kind of convey is the fact that, you know, as a person who's been like young, because I played the game when I was young, for me tier 10 was was this mystical thing that, like, oh wow, tier 10, like that's where probably the most skilled stuff happens. Like that's where different tank classes, you know, shine or whatever. That's when, you know, the big guns are out, I guess. That's where big guns are out, pretty much. And that's when, you know, the most intense games start happening. But now, when I own quite a bit of tier 10s, it's not that mystical. Real talk, it's not that crazy. But back then it probably was. It probably was crazy back then to have a tier 10 vehicle. Nowadays, though, I don't really know. And as such, there weren't really many things, at least I don't remember, that had times 5 XP boost or times 2 XP boost or discounters, like discounts for, research XP, like the research XP discount. There weren't such things. Nowadays, there are a ton, and especially they come from craze. Haha, funny. But basically, I think that most of what tier 10 has become now is due to the fault of the 5.5 update, and the skill has gradually depleted ever since. Because back then you had different tank classes in lower tiers. You were like, okay, so this tank is a tank destroyer, that's a glass cannon, which goes to the line of both Yag and Grill. Okay, that tank there is TD that has armor and has a derp gun, T18. Okay, that's very similar to a T110 E3 and E4. Okay. And then what else was there? Like, wow, medium 2, which was the worst medium. Like, okay, medium 2. Like, okay, that goes to the FV4 402, whatever that is. The medium tank, I mean, okay, whatever. Then there are like the French tank destroyers, which is like UE57, which, to be honest, is basically the Grill in tier 3. I'm like, okay, this is a glass cannon. I know how to play them now. Okay, you get to the heavy tanks. Okay, I know how to play them now. You get to the mediums. Okay, I know. And lights. Okay, I know. And you could easily learn them, how to play them and stuff. And as such, if you actually were confident enough to go to the tier 10, you could have learned easily. And this is why most, probably not all of them, but most players who are good players are those who played before 5.5. Yes, who have created the account before 5.5 and played through it. These are actually the players that are good players. Yeah, and I think it's not a coincidence whatsoever. I think that has to say something. And yeah, a lot of players have played before the update 5.5. Because update 5.5 basically made tier 2s very straightforward with no different branches whatsoever. I feel like that could have been a little bit calculated because, you know, if the progression for tier 10 becomes easy, well, the demand for tier 10 will become more common. And as such, people will spend the money to get the tier 10s. And you see, I feel like that's kind of on purpose because now if you're a new player and you decided to play a couple battles and win a couple battles, you already get the tier 1 something Grizzly. Isn't the Grizzly a tier 4? So you're already top tier when you're probably in the tier 2 or tier 3. You're already tier 4, which is close to tier 5, which is, well, yeah. And especially if you go to the shop, you're gonna have the AMX 30B now in stores, and you can buy it and get the tier 10, boom, just like that, at snap of the fingers. And there you go, tier 10, without learning any basic things about the game. Which is quite crazy, in my personal opinion. But yes, that is how the current state looks. And I think most of the reason why tier 10 is so bot-ish, or just so sometimes so like crazy in terms of like how low the players' skill, most of them can be, and how bad they play, is because they don't answer with skill, they answer with their wallet, and that's what happens. You know, which is kind of the truth, unfortunately. So that's why a lot of tier 10 battles have been derpy, like kind of meh, to be honest. And it's unbelievable how many, like I played the Krupp, which I think the replay will come here. I felt like this was like, oh wow, this literally feels just like tier 10. Like, in terms of enemy positioning, in terms of how the players, the teammates respond, in terms of people rushing like stupidly, in terms of people camping in the bushes, like medium tanks camping in the bushes. I was like, wow, this is literally just like a tier 10, tier 8 battle. I'm like, what the hell? What's happening? And yeah, I feel like this is because of the players who have been spending money and getting tier 10s. And yeah, that is, I think the damage is now permanent a little bit. Wargaming won't bring back the old vehicles or the old tech tree, hell no, or the old guns. And you know it's bad when tier 5 feels like tier 10. Like, you know it's bad if, like, even if you're lower tier, it still feels like the game is, you know, it still feels like the same thing. Like, the matchmaking is similar, like the enemies are similar, they rush, or they die, or they camp in bushes, or whatever. You know, it's a different thing if you're a TD, but like, even TDs are in a similar position. It's crazy. It's like everything's almost the same except smaller guns and less HP and less damage. But you know that has to be bad if it literally feels almost the same. That to me is crazy. And anyway, I guess that is all I have to say about this. And yeah, I hope this gives you your answer when it comes to why players seem so bad in tier 10. Well, it's because of this. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. I'll see you guys later, and goodbye.